What we need is a legend. We need a legend.
Can we get a legend in here? I mean,
there a legend in the house?
Just Pulver.
Look at
this guy, man.
How are you?
How are you?
How great it is to have you back, man. I mean, it's funny, man. I mean, obviously, you don't get more old school legend than Jens Pulver, man. You were there at the very beginning of this sport, right? And we were kind of joking about it, but this, like, even as much as I love the sport, old school, I never saw this coming, man. I never saw this level of, interaction and popularity, and where the sport has become global on ABC, on ESPN. We were fighting in barns and stuff back in the day. 100%. What's it like for you to see this part of the sport?
You always hoped it would be this big. But back in the day, again, legal in 3 states, no real weight class, no rules. You had everybody against you. To make it to something like this, it's nothing short of incredible. I can't. Every time I walk around, it's just mind blowing. And then you tell yourself it just can't get any bigger. And then it does. It just keeps getting bigger. And like one of the things that we do now, like I said, I never thought we'd be on Twitch, which is a video game platform. And I'm on Twitch doing UFC. You know what I mean? Twitch.tv/UFC. And it's the single greatest thing I've ever done in my life. I love everything about it. And I don't know if you remember me back in the day. I was a gamer. I'm the guy who didn't go to Matt Hughes and Hoist Gracie because I was on my last weekend of grinding for Grand Marshal in World of Warcraft. I'm like, wait, what? I go, I can't. He's like, well, I want you to come to the show. I was like, I can't go. He's like, I go, I've been there for the last month and a half grinding the Grand Marshal. This will all be for nothing. And it was a video game, but not to me. You know what I mean?
That is hilarious. So I didn't know that. So I did kind of wonder how the part. I knew you were doing the stuff with Twitch, but I was like, is he out there streaming? Like, how did you get connected with it? Was it because of the gaming background?
Well, 8K Snoo, my mod Sean, he's like, yo, you got to get in this. To be honest, when I retired from fighting, my heart was broken. I went on that losing streak at the end of my career and stuff, but my heart was destroyed because I was like, what am I going to do? I stopped watching MMA. I wanted nothing to do with MMA. Wouldn't watch fights. I wouldn't do nothing. And I put on weight. I walked away. I mean, my heart, I was crushed. And he's like, you should start streaming because I always loved video games. I loved, I loved doing what I did. I enjoyed it. So he's like, you should start streaming. So I started streaming on Twitch and I started playing video games and I started talking. And I'll never forget, man, I think the 3rd or 4th day, there was nobody in the stream, nobody in chat, right? I'm like, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. And this stream barbershop, they rated me like 30 or 40 people, but it was the coolest thing. All these emojis started lighting up and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Oh my. And so I was hooked. And then I got to talk to people. And one day someone said, hey, would you watch my fight? I'm like, yeah, here, post it on Discord. And I threw it up and I started watching it. And then that led to another fight. Someone else, would you watch my fight? And then it's like, all right. So then all of a sudden I took on this platform. I started breaking down fights. Then the UFC's like, we're going to start this Twitch stream. Would you want to give it a shot? So I auditioned, right? And they're like, how many fights can he watch in an hour? You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, it's Jens. And I became the pause king. Like, wow. Oh, you'll see. I'm not kidding you. I got in and started telling the story from the Boss Shooting Invitational. I've been waiting a long time to tell how this 155-pound division was created back in the day. Again, from the underground forum where that's what kept us alive for the longest time on the planet, right? And here we are, and we're talking about, I get to tell this story finally because the UFC fights I couldn't watch on my stream because they're owned obviously by the Fight Pass and you can't just go showing them. So that first day I started telling the story and I got into the John Lewis fight about the injury, how I lost to Dean Thomas by a heel hook in the WEF, I think it was called. Remember, there were so few fights. We got to fight elsewhere and still have our UFC fight. So I got beat by Din, but here I am injured, limping around. My sciatic nerve was burning. I couldn't even walk. And it's like, not take the fight that's not even an option because it'll be a year and a half before I get another one. It's because, 6 shows a year, all these weight classes. And so here I am. I take the fight. And because of that fight, Dana White and Lorenzo were there with John Lewis to watch him smash his kid, Jens Pulver. And then obviously things turned around. I landed that shot 11.5 seconds later. I became Lil Evil. And, the rest is history because they end up buying the UFC. And then it goes, all right, we need that little dude that knocked out our coach. And had I not taken that fight because of the injuries,
life could be completely different.
Who knows what would have happened? So here I am telling this story. And it's funny because I was talking about the injury. And right after I landed that shot, you see me jumping up and down. Now I'm crying on the stream. I got tears. And I'm like, but the pain is gone. And so I got to tell this whole story. Ironically, 6 hours later, when I finished with all my pausing and storytelling and everything like that.
So you were still streaming 6
I
hours.
was still
later.
streaming 6 hours. We rolled this thing out for 6 hours. Like, all right, you want to do this on every other Friday? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So then that just turned into, now we do 6 p.m. Eastern, and we do Friday, we're watching fights of fighters fighting, and Saturday's fights. Saturday, I do the watch along, sometimes solo, but if it's a pay-per-view, we'll have guests. I mean, I've had so many guest assists, it's been unreal. I like saying guest assist, but I add in words. You know how I am. Come on, you know me, John. But we've had so many cool guests, and then on Monday, we break down the fights with highlights and have an interview. And then based on the theme, we'll watch fights on Fight Pass. Wednesday, everybody that has channel points because when we gamble channel points. So we're betting on the fights with our channel points, and those that do can kind of dictate what fights we watch on Wednesday. And then, like I said, Friday's back to business. Friday, we're watching fights of fighters fighting. Saturday's fights. And off we go. But point is, I started having so much fun. What it did do is you can see it in my face. You hear me talking about it. I feel alive. When I say that this UFC stream and Twitch saved me, it saved my life. It gave me a purpose.
Started as therapy,
and here I am. It started as therapy, and now here I am watching fights, and now I'm back in it. I'm coaching. I'm offering advice, and I tell people all the time, where else do you have a former UFC world champion just dipping knowledge, hitting pause, rewinding, breaking things down, and all you got to do is give me your time. That's all I ask for is time. You know what I mean? Money can't buy it. We always wish we had more, and time's the greatest gift on the planet. The fact that you all come in here and give me your time, you know I'm going to pause. And the coolest part is all subs go to support the American Cancer Society. Not some, all subs go to support the American Cancer Society. So I'm doing what I love. I'm raising money for Cancer Society on top of watching fights, breaking it down, and it's just kind of, it's like I brought color back into my face. I got my life back together. I stopped getting fat. I decided to get big. I just found happiness. I love what I'm doing. I love this stream. And now today, I got to commentate the UFC 4 aspect of Nick Merckx and Tim the Tapman. And like every other time, I'm nervous. I can't breathe. You know what I mean? My UFC Mod 2 is the boss. He knows it. He knows I get all worked up. It's been a lot of fun, man. It's been heaven.
I love it. And to see, your passion back, and obviously just being around the UFC again, right?
Yeah.
Which wasn't the case for a long time. I mean, that's got to be an overall positive.
It's massive. Like I said, it's just I feel like I'm home. You know what I mean? I'm glad. You know what I mean? I love it. And then, like I said, I think one of the coolest things was I got to go to the Performance Institute, and I brought my son, who's now 13 years old. Carson has grown. He's been around the sport this whole life, and to have him standing underneath me, winning the world title, it was just, to have that happen now, 13 years later, it's just, I can't, no words. I'm happy. I'm home. You know what I mean? I love it. Hopefully, like I said, I just want to build this stream because Twitch, it's a phenomenal platform. It's a great place to have it. The watch alongs are sick. I think I'm going to have Adrian Yanez with me this Saturday doing a watch along. This time I get to do it on a couch. So I'll be up, bouncing around. I end up working out more in a chair, slipping, showing people how to move underneath stuff. But no, I love everything about it. It's just totally revived my life, I guess, in one way.
That's so great to hear, man. So which fight are you looking forward to most this week? We've been talking about this stacked card, like just how ridiculous the lineup is. Top to bottom,
the problem
man.
is, and I can't, one of the things where I miss the most is, on Friday, we're breaking down again. Well, normally we'll do Wednesday when it's a pay-per-view. We'll watch the undercard fights. We usually do about 2 fights of each fighter and letting them kind of get ready because we have our exclamation picks where you get to pick all your stuff. And on Monday, we'll see how you did. Saturday, of course, we gamble the points. But this is the one time because I'm here, I don't really get to
break it down.
But I do know because I talked to Mr. Turner in an interview. Brad Riddell and Jalen Turner, just the size of Jalen Turner. He's a monster. So I'm really excited for that. And, of course, obviously seeing what O'Malley will do with Munoz. We got Robbie Lawler. Thank goodness he got bumped up to the main card. Yeah. Sorry, Misha and stuff like that, Lauren Murphy. And then with Barberina. So that I like. But there's something about Strickland that I can't. He stole
all the attention this week. That press conference.
Everything.
This guy, I mean, he's been around. And it's so cool because he's been around the game for a long time. He's been grinding kind of in the shadows,
100%.
On his way. Had the horrible accident that he had to battle back from. But really, and I think it's just kind of his personality. Just people didn't really, he didn't connect with to speak.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I guess he just decided, you know what? I don't care if people don't like me. I don't care if people think I'm controversial. I'm going to say what I want to say.
Got to do it.
And it's
And it
connecting.
worked. And it hits home because everybody likes that. Especially when you're somebody who you have that moniker. You're the baddest man, one of the baddest men on the planet. What are you afraid of, right? How dare you have anxiety and hold back on, like you always want to be PC, make sure you don't offend somebody or you don't. And it is refreshing, I guess, if that's who you are. If you have such a struggle on, I'm afraid to post this, I'm afraid to say this, or he's just like, man, I'm going to say it all, and I'm going to use this platform to do it, right? So he makes a lot of fun. But again, he's fighting Alex Pereira, which is I don't know if he feels the pressure, but anybody that lands the stoutest right, that left hook of his, I believe it was the left hook in that last fight that he hit. I don't think people understand the impact of that thing with as little bit of body movement as he did. The whip that he brought onto that hook it's obvious he's still a big threat. On top of the fact that you knocked out, Adesanya. There's that pressure, but he's living up to it. But I like how these two have really risen. He's just being quiet. But Strickland is really taking over and having fun. But then again, with Volkanovski and Max, do we see in the third fight, what do we see? What are we going to see different? Do we see, and I know, like, I picture O'Malley right now when I say this, so I'm not, do we see calf kicks again by Volkanovski? Do we go after something like that? Because that was a big neutralizer in the first fight that he didn't. It's almost like he made it harder for himself the second time, but maybe he didn't want to land the kicks with his foot. Max maybe figured it out. So, again, I always tell people game plans. I'm really excited to see what the game plans are going to be. And to watch these two, this has been a massive puzzle for a long time. They're in chapter 3 of this damn video game. I don't know what will happen. They'll be going like chapters 4 and 5. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see what happens. But, and then again, with Adesanya, there's not much to say. Izzy is who Izzy is. He's very skilled. He's crafted. He's phenomenal. He's an outstanding character, like he says. But Cannonier's quiet. He's humble. And he's got power in his hands. And I think it's that pissed off humbleness. It reminds me of when Rocky Balboa had all the lights in the casino and blowing bubbles, and you know what I mean. And Clubber Lang's over there in the room just training on it, but he doesn't have all that glitz and glamour, but he's chasing after it. Where the other one's got all these. Again, when you win the belt, there's a lot of things you're getting called to do, and the hardest time is sometimes it's during fight weeks. Like I gotta defend this. Yeah, no, but we need you to do this. We got media, and we need this happening. When can I be Adesanya the champ? Saturday morning when nobody's around after weigh-ins, you can now go, or Friday night when everything's done, now you can go be Israel Adesanya and focus on being a world champ. Sorry I'm long-winded,
I
but
love it.
you can tell I talk all the time on a stream.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
not for nothing.
6 hours.
You talk about impact. I mean, Jens is throwing these. I'm feeling the wind over here. I mean,
I punched my mic.
You've been in that.
My mic a time or two. I'm telling you.
You're that
You gotta
PI
watch
taking advantage.
I was made for this stream, and like I said, to be able to do the interviews and stuff like that is 100%. I love everything about it, and because the funnest part is when we do get guests on to do the streams, we got to let them know these people. Most of them are watching via the radio, old school. So you got to stay active. If all three of us, or if just two of us, if you just take a pause. Now you all three just sitting there.
Right.
What's happening? What's happening? Yeah. You got to make sure you say so-and-so landed the left hook, so-and-so. So I'm just like, if they start to get it, they dive in. And if they don't, and I just start going ham. Like CM Punk, and I get it like TSM Vis streamers that have done that, or CM Punk, who's really good on the mic and stuff as well. You know what I'm talking about.
It.
So you get those guys around, and it makes it a little easier. Then we get some other ones that kind of just up in it, you know what I mean? Not to mention, make sure they got the headsets right and everything like that. We always talk about the boo-boo about the AirPods. Evidently, those AirPods travel far from the distance. Somebody had to go to the bathroom one time while the stream was going. So we got these live scenarios while the stream was going. AirPods are playing, and I realized it was Wonder Boy because he brought it up when I hear me. He goes, "Do you remember that?" And I'm like, "It was you that I was." So it was me, Wonder Boy, and a fighter.
So you just leak on
Well,
there.
we're all just kind of pay no attention to the dribble. I'm like, dang, he's been holding this thing for some time. It's like it just keeps going. Everybody's just trying to look away, just going. Pay no attention to this. Pay no attention. You know, we're like, yeah, this is good. We're good. You know, so I love when people try to get it all dialed in and figured out with the headsets and stuff. So what we do though is, again, everybody's watching on the radio, and so you gotta. When I go in there, I'm 100 miles a minute, like the way I talk now, and I just 6 hours of no stopping, and I just let chat keep me alive because that's the biggest thing is I love having chat going and I make sure to pause and stop and answer all their questions. I love it.
One thing I wanted to ask you, obviously, it's so great that you're still involved with the sport. You're sharing your insight. You're sharing your stories from your career. Former UFC world champion, there aren't many of those, right? But only one can ever be the first, right? You were the inaugural lightweight champion of the UFC. What does that mean? I mean, to be a UFC champion is an incredibly special and rare thing. But to be the first, Jens, I mean, what does that mean to you? Sort of sitting here and seeing how big the sport is. When people start to get into the sport, they start to read into the history. They catch your stream. They read up about you and find that you were the first guy to hold a UFC lightweight title. What does that mean to you?
You know, I can't, I don't really have a word for it. And I just tell you, like the pride. And like I said, to have my son be able to stand underneath that picture, that capped everything for me. 13 years later, that did it for me. And I had, just because to be the godfather of this division right now, this 155-pound division, which to me is just the highlight reel. The depth of 35 and 45, some, but 55 right now, just where it's at, it's really taken prime stage with these youngsters coming up. That Gamrot Sarukian fight was short of incredible. I was a Sarukian super fan because of what he did with Makhachev on a 10-day notice, and it was such a wrestling fight that it was beautiful. So, because I'm doing this stream and stuff, like I said, it's really, I'm starting to slowly get that pride back, and I'm starting to feel good. Because there for a while, man, I'm not lying to you, I kicked myself really hard, that losing streak, and I see these fathers that are having their children, and they're motivated, and they're going away to camps, and it motivates them to fight. But see, me, as bad as I was abused when I grew up, just having my son was it for me, and I was so afraid of being that intense little jackass at all times. And I think the biggest thing for me is, like, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to have time for you. I'm too busy. So it's like I became human. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, and I just didn't want it anymore, but it's all I knew. So I was just trying to go through the motion. But I had a lot of guilt. And I think one of the coolest things about the platform that I have now is I can talk to people about that. But I look at it because of where everything is right now. And I love, like right now in this moment, I'm so in love with everything. I have no regrets. And that's what I tell anybody. If you can truly love where you're at right now, learn how to be your own best friend and love where you are right now, then everything was for a reason. Everything was for a purpose. And you can let that, pardon my language, let that shit go, take off that vest that you're wearing and just be at peace and start to build from here. And I think that's what I mean by when I say this stream saved me. That's what it did, is I don't hang my head in guilt. I didn't want that. And people used to say, you keep losing like this, it's gonna come back and haunt you. I'm like, man, I'm trying to figure out the damn puzzle. I don't know why I'm losing. I don't know what. It was like I made my promise with the quote unquote devil. My father passed away. We had the conversation we had. I punished him the way I needed to when I made that documentary, and I didn't win again afterwards. But so my point is this stream means the world to me because it basically has saved my life in the aspect that I have no regrets. Everything was for a purpose. And as on Wednesday, we're going through WEC Wednesday, we're getting ready to go through that losing streak. And I have now for the first time developed the confidence that I'm going to be able to do this with chat, allowing them to watch it. And every now and then you get that one ha. And I still trying to learn how to, I will let that one chat piss on the whole parade. So I'm learning how not to dampen everybody, right? So I'm learning how to bring that in. But but I'm ready to go through the losses.
It's almost like self-therapy, right? You're getting closure on that.
Yes, and that's it. And because I love where I'm at now, it's like, all right, I can do this. And you know how it is. I always talk about it is, 10 people. And people always ask, being famous. I go, here's what I learned throughout this whole thing with my career about famous. 10 people, right? 4 want to knock the smile off your face for no other reason. They don't give a shit. They just don't have a smile. And every now and then, you'll get that one crippler that just got to jump in the chat and just try to piss directly into the Wheaties, right? I'm like, there's my point, right? And then you'll have 4 more that look you in the face, give you a high five when you turn your back. They're flipping you off, telling you bullshit, talking all kinds of crap about you. Then you'll have 2 out of 10 that are genuinely happy for you for no other reason than to see a smile on your face. And that's what I've learned. And so now doing this stream has allowed me to put my money where my mouth is, because I'll get those haters and I'll get to do things that I do. And guys, this is just the greatest platform, Twitch, UFC, my gaming life, bringing them all together. I married into the greatest thing in the world. I'm about to commentate UFC 4 with Nick Merckx, Tim the Tapman on UFC streams. It's just crazy. And if you haven't followed on Twitter, at UFC Streams on Twitter, you got to jump in and follow Twitter. Then we got clips and all this craziness. So
This is awesome. The thing I love about this is that what you're doing now, and you say it's safe, all the rest of it, it didn't exist when you were competing.
not at all.
None of this stuff existed. This is
We were kept alive by the
very
underground
different place.
forum.
Yeah, you
Yes,
know,
we were.
and now here we are.
MixedMartialArts.com.
You know, we're in the middle of a map expo, and you know, pride of place doing this stuff. It's awesome to see. Awesome to see.
That's what I mean. It's unbelievable. And you got to think about it. And there's nothing but love to everybody out there on that underground forum. People don't understand, like, they all used to go ham on the forum. I couldn't wait to finish my fight and get back to the forum. See what everybody said about me. See how it was. See what everybody got. Now it's like they're on YouTube channel. Yes. By the way, chat, I'm ripping a mullet. I'm growing just a mad mullet right now because one, I haven't cut my hair since I caught COVID. Then I had to get braces because I decided to be, once I finished being quote unquote famous, getting punched in the mouth, I'm not leaving this earth without straight teeth once. So I got braces. So I'm like, well, we'll just get this mullet going. So everybody asks, like, I always wear hats, and I pull it off, and they're like, you do have hair. I'm like, what? Yes, I have hair. What's wrong with you? So I haven't cut this since I caught COVID. Then COVID turned into pneumonia. Then I was like, whoa! I never missed a stream through the whole thing, and so I've been growing it ever since.
Well, and I got to ask, talk about wearing different hats, coming in as a legend, to be able to, what does it mean to you to impart that wisdom, to be able to give kind of like your 2 cents, a new fighter like Adrian Yanez, I'm sure he'll piece together a couple nuggets from a conversation with you that, simply put, nobody else could have experience. What does that mean to you?
And that, I think that's the one thing, right? Just to have worth and value. And for people to want to give you their time and their attention. And that's what I love. Is even when it comes to like the street beef fighters and stuff like that, I was watching their organization and just little things like that, just having people come in for the first time. Hey, I've been boxing. Would you watch my boxing? Could you tell me this? And I'm like, dude, where else do you have a world champion? So it just feels so cool because I was always afraid that people just gonna be like, shut up. Like nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody wants, and that's what I mean by sometimes you just don't feel like you belong, right? And so that was the one thing. Oh, and speaking of Mr. Yanez, who I love this kid to death. I did, if he wants the name, that I've blessed, I'm blessing it to him because with Max, he was going to be Lil Evil, but I kind of wanted to be retired, but I wanted to give that name away because there's only one Lil Evil. It's the greatest nickname in sports, I think. And there's only one Lil Evil bastard, shortened down to Lil Evil. And I was sitting there rapping with Adrian Yanez the other day. I'm like, and we were doing this stream. I was like, it's yours if you want it. But he's like, well, I don't want people to think that I just took it. I'm like, you're not. I know, because nobody could just be Lil Evil, but it's yours. So I'm looking at him, but it's his. I've given Lil Evil to him. I don't know if he's going to take it. So now I'm sitting back butthurt. But it goes back to what he said. Having that belief, right? Just being able to have fun. And the fact that people are willing to give you their time and listen, it's the greatest gift on the planet. And I've enjoyed blowing up this stream as much as I can. And we're going to start adding in gaming, right? UFC Mod 2, we're going to start gaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It's been an absolute gift
UFC Mod 2, like nobody gets to meet him yet. He's a mystery on the stream. They all don't know who it is. They're like, is it Dana? Is it Sean? Is it like, I don't know who it is. It's a mystery. So I'm always messing with him.
Ginger, man, it's good to see you, man.
I
Thanks for the time, man.
Shirt,
We'll tune in. I haven't seen one of the streams. Now you got me fired up. I got to see
it. 6 p.m. Eastern. Everybody out there, 6 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/UFC, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Saturday, we're going to be doing a watch along. So if you're not watching it, or even if you are watching it on pay-per-view, jump in and listen to me and Mr. Adrian Yanez. I don't know if there's going to be a third guest, but this time I get to sit in front of the couch. So I'm really going to get animated, shadow boxing the whole 6 hours. So make sure you check it out.
Top man.
Bet. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, yes.
You got a bunch of these to do. We appreciate the time, bro. Thank you, bro. Awesome, man. A legend in the house with energy, by the way. If you didn't have energy before, you got energy now, man.
2 words. That.
Yeah.
Follow that.
Good luck. Good luck.
I'm just watching out over here. I mean, if he had an 8-minute streak, he lifts his phone too. That's how we get people coming back on the stream here. But